Hey, welcome to the Cerebral Edge. This is the only show that makes you 1% better every day. And today I have my guest, Dave West, with me here, owner of Mountain Country, right? Been a client of mine for what?
Shoot, over a year now, I think,
Over
right?
a year now, right?
I think it has been.
Whew, it's a long time.
Which has been great.
But anyway, I want him on here today because we're going to talk about goal setting. A lot of New Year's resolutioners out there who are now probably starting to fall off the wagon, right? They started with such good intentions, ready to go, and then now it's kind of like that decline that's kind of happening in the gym a little bit, right?
Right.
You know, you get around that February, March time frame, that seems to be where everybody kind of
Tapers off. And that's a thing that happens like every year nationwide, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, everywhere, right?
Yeah.
And
is it because people have false expectations? They think they're going to look like you all of a sudden in 6 weeks? They're going to be like bench pressing 250 and or whatever?
My favorite one is when people come to me and they go, hey, I don't want to look like Arnold Schwarzenegger. And I'm like, don't worry about that at all, right? that is something you have to really try to do.
To be.
And then you also probably have to do some extracurriculars to get there as well, right?
So you don't just accidentally stumble into...
You know, I've never seen anybody accidentally go into a gym and like pump a few weights and have 24-inch biceps.
I think you're right.
It just doesn't really happen that way, right? So anyway, I have you because you've built Mountain Country, right?
I have, yeah.
Pretty successful business. Obviously, there had to be goals to get there, right?
Right.
So how would you go about setting goals if you're going to venture into something?
Well, you know, for me, and you know I love mountain climbing too. And mountain climbing, you have to have goals as well. I think one of the things that I do is I visualize what I want to happen. I really I see Mountain Country as a successful station, or I see me at the top of a summit. And I think even weightlifters do the same thing. A lot of times they will visually picture themselves lifting that unbelievable amount of weight before they do it.
Yeah.
So that's, for me, I think in my business, not only you have to have a plan to get there and a roadmap, but to visualize it and see it in your own mind before it happens.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's a lot of lifters, right, that will talk before they go on the platform, right? And they'll say, I've already lifted it in my mind, so in the platform it's just second nature, right? But that's like big, like looking at the end result, right?
Yeah.
But a lot of people get lost, I believe, in the day-to-day, right?
Sure.
Going through the days each day, because all of a sudden it becomes, man, this is really daunting. So one of the things that I like to have people do is to start their day off with success, right? And start to stack wins through the day. Right, so the first win, right, might be not shutting the snooze button off.
Right.
Because how many times have you done that?
Well, I hate the snooze button. In fact, I hate the alarm so much. I have this getting up for the morning show for so long. I have this weird ability to wake up a couple minutes before my alarm goes off, and because I hate the jolting of the alarm, so I can do that almost probably 95% of the time. My alarm never goes off. I wake up. But you're right. If I don't do that, or if I wake up and then I shut it off, which I do occasionally now that I don't have to be in for the morning show, I wake up at like 2 minutes till 6 and I go, okay, my alarm's about to go off, turn that off. And then if I go back to sleep, I do find that I feel like I've missed something.
Yeah, and you're almost a little bit more tired, right? Because you start to go in that REM cycle sleep again. And then you interrupt right in the middle of it. Right. And then you wake up and you're like,
So no snooze button.
And then a lot of people will wake up, and a lot of people will be like, well, that's not such a big deal, right? But if you wake up and then all of a sudden you're late, right? What's that do to your nervous system?
Right, you're in a panic now.
You're in a panic, right? And you're trying to get to work, and you're trying to get all this stuff done. And then by the time you get to work, you might be a few minutes late or whatever, and then you're stressed about being late. So that sets a really bad tone through the day. Right?
Yeah, I think that's right. I think anytime you have a negative thing happen, you got to really watch to make sure that doesn't follow you through the day.
Because it can compound so easy.
Yeah. And positive too, right? So it works the same way.
Yeah,
and that's
absolutely.
where you're going with this direction. Start off with positive rather than a negative, and then that will compound.
Yeah, because a lot of people will say it's just the snooze gun. It's not a big deal, right? But it can easily start to stack through the day.
Well, and what you did was you let the snooze button have a victory over you.
Yep. You start your day without a victory, right?
And then defeat.
So like the second thing that I like to do through the day, right? As soon as I get downstairs, is pound about 20, 30 ounces of water,
Wow.
right? Because your brain is mostly made of water. So when people wake up all groggy, what are the first thing they go for?
Caffeine, baby.
Caffeine. Get that caffeine going to wake you up, man.
Yeah.
But man, getting 20, 30 ounces of water right when you wake up is such a good way to start, right? Because then all of a sudden,
great.
that naturally starts to wake you up anyway. Not against caffeine, not saying don't have your caffeine afterwards.
Sure.
But
20 ounces, 20
to 30 ounces.
Wow, that's a
yeah.
lot.
Yeah, you just pound that right in the morning.
All right, all right.
Especially if you have goals to lift later in the day, right? So you have to be hydrated.
Right,
And then your risk of injury is going to go down because now you are hydrated,
right.
right?
And won't a lot of pain just go away when you're hydrated? Like
Oh,
a lot of
some
people's
can.
pain.
Yeah,
Yeah.
some can because, again, affecting your neural circuits, right? Getting more hydration up there, thinking clearer, right?
Yeah. Okay.
You're thinking clearer, right? All of a sudden your brain's like starts off with kind of a like safer spot.
All right.
Right.
So, all right, we're starting the day with success with Coach Chris. I
Starting the
like
day
it.
with
No
success a
snooze
little
button.
bit.
20 to 30 ounces of water.
Right.
I'm digging it.
So those are two, right? And then the third thing that I will do is that I'll wake up and then I read the Bible, right? But you could read any nonfiction, right? 10 pages, right? Just to get your brain kind of stoked. And then also get outside and walk the dog a little bit,
Right.
right? Because it's been shown that even morning light is better than any sleeping pill. Because
Absolutely.
then that starts your circadian rhythm.
Yep.
And sleep is so important, right? If you're not getting your sleep, guess what that affects? Affects your time in the gym, affects your growth, affects your recovery.
Yeah, your performance at work. Yeah.
Yeah, your performance
Sure.
at work, all
All
that
right.
stuff.
I love it. A little reading time and maybe some meditation.
Yeah, just kind of walking, right? So you can meditate if you want, right? I don't normally meditate in the morning. Some people find that helpful, but just
But your
getting
reading
out-
time sort of.
Yeah,
could be,
that can be, yeah, for sure. They
All right.
call it meditation, I guess, if you read over something over and over and over again, it gets ingrained in you.
I like it.
But yeah, and then getting that morning walk, walking in, sunlight, direct sunlight, starting to wake you up, start bringing that cortisol level down a little bit, right? Because you wake up and you want to start getting moving.
Good. I like it.
What are some of the things you do in the morning? Do you have a routine or not?
My routine has changed a little bit since I'm no longer on the morning show. I think I do drink water. I drink a protein drink every morning too, and about every other day or so I drink a drink that's greens. I don't know if you've seen the super greens that are.
I've heard of them.
Yeah. So I start off with that, and then a protein drink, and then some water. And I take some vitamins too. What do you think about vitamins?
The vitamins I normally take in the morning, and I'll have this with my 20 to 30 ounces of water, is I'll take magnesium and vitamin D supplement,
I like a vitamin D.
and
yeah.
then another one called hydrolonic acid, which helps joints. Right?
Okay.
And it's one of the more clinical proven ones to help joints, especially when you're in there clanging and banging all the time.
Right.
You need something to kind of grease them joints a little bit. But as always, I think that, if you feel like you're deficient in something, get a blood test.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that is going to be the tried and true thing that will say, I'm deficient in this and this and this, versus just throwing darts at the wall and going, I think I'll take this one, and I think I'll take this one, I think I'll take this one, right? Because I think people do that too much. Then they have like these 50,000 different pills that
Right.
they're like, well, I'm kind of feeling better, but I'm not sure which one's working, and
Yeah.
And then with the vitamin D that I'll take is I'll take it with a little bit of peanut butter, right? Because it's a fat-soluble vitamin, so it helps get it in my system a little bit better.
Okay. All right. And you talked about meditation and reading. I kind of like the idea of starting off with some reading, but I do like to start off with at least some silence, because my
Yeah.
day is filled with so much, music and all kinds of audio all day, and lots of noise in our general life. So I actually, being a radio guy, I hate to say this, I love turning on the radio,
Yeah.
but sometimes it's okay to turn off the radio too.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
Just drive to work in silence.
Yeah, some people want to train focus, right? And they want to train, being more patient. And you have to do things that require patience and focus, right?
Makes
so
sense.
I'm sure when you have the radio off, you're not as distracted, right? You're more focused on what you're doing. So probably in a sense, you're actually training yourself to be more focused as well when you come in. Because like you said, your head's clouded with all these different things and ideas that's going to be coming at you
Right.
as soon as you step in the door.
Yeah.
But when it's time to be focused, you're focused,
Cool.
right? Number 2 that I think is so important for people not to fail on these new goals they have set is to really hire a coach. And I'm sure Dave can attest that. Dave, why is hiring a coach so important?
All right, I started working out with you a year ago or so. I can tell after a year that I'm way stronger than I ever thought I would be at my age, especially because I'm getting to the point where I'm not getting stronger, I'm getting weaker. But I'm stronger. I snowboard better. My posture's better. We've talked about my migraines don't exist anymore. There's so many health benefits that I'm seeing come in after a year of working with you, but I can guarantee you that had I started with the same goals a year ago on my own, maybe I would have worked out a couple times. I mean, literally a couple times probably is it. He holds you, or any coach. Any coach holds you accountable. You have an appointment with him on Tuesday at 11:30.
Yeah.
And how many times have I walked in and said, I don't think I can do it.
I wasn't going to do your,
The tank is empty, coach. I can't. And then I end up having a great workout. And so whether I guess you could do the same thing with a buddy. But what I've also found out with a coach is, I think in my experience, when I would go to the gym, I would do my favorite things. Like
right.
All the exercises that I like to do that I'm pretty good at,
that,
and they feel good to me. The ones that I did kind of hurt, I'll shy away from those.
Stick away from those.
I walk in and you say, we're doing these today. I'm like, oh boy, I wouldn't do them on my own. So that's the thing, the accountability of having somebody who's going to push you and push you harder than you thought you could do, because you've pushed me beyond what I thought I could do in the gym many times. And then really to have somebody say, all right, you need to do this exercise today, not the one you like.
Right.
And so those are, for me, two top reasons.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why lifters have about a 6-week shelf life, new lifters, right? They're normally injured within that time frame. And one of those reasons is because they only do the things they like, right? So say you like to go in and you like to do, a bunch of bench pressing all the time. Well, if you do that all the time, all of a sudden you have an overuse injury of your shoulders, right? You've got imbalances going on. Then all of a sudden you're like, man, this kind of hurts, so I don't really want to go to the gym. So then it scares them away from the gym, right? It's kind of like, I look at it like this, right? So you have a mechanic for your car, right?
Sure.
Some of the more intricate problems, are you going to work on your car?
No.
No, because they have what? The experience
Right.
to fix it, right?
The know-how,
The know-how to fix it. People crack me up when they just go, well, I'm just going to go try it on my own and go work out. And I'm like, okay, what experience do you have with that, right? What knowledge have you dived into?
Right.
Right?
And then there's we didn't even touch on, you touched a little bit on getting injured, but I think you see it in the gyms. People do some strange exercises. They come up with I don't know where they come up with some of these things, but you have to be thinking, what are you doing? Because even with me, a simple like push-up or row or something like that, you will often say, nope, turn your elbow or put your knee in a different position. So I can't see that when I'm in the gym working out by myself, that my knee is not in the right position. A coach can see that and say, hey, stop and do this different.
I did a post on my Instagram, my Cerebral Edge Instagram I did with myself, and I had a camera facing myself, and I actually explained what I did wrong, right? Because I had an extra eye looking, and I knew what I was looking for, right?
Yeah.
So I could look at it and go, okay, well, next time I need to do this to correct it, right? It was my squats, and it was like, on rep 5, I was exhausted, right? And I was doing 10 barbell back squats with a pretty heavy load, right? So by 10 with a pretty heavy load, you're going to be thinking about your life choices, right? So when I was in the middle of my 5th set, I looked down and I noticed my hips raise up first, right? Versus coming up in a straight path. And I was like, oh, okay. So next time, I really have to be focused on keeping my eyes straight or slightly up. So that way when I go down, I'm not looking down and my body doesn't follow, right? So that's what a coach can do,
Wow.
spot on.
Even a
Is-
coach needs a coach.
Even a coach needs a
Yeah.
coach. I have a coach that I see every Monday. So I'm not saying you have to reach out to me directly, but get somebody that has some experience. They know what they're doing. Do a little background check on them too, because there's a lot of new trainers out there that have really no clue what they're doing still. Try to get somebody, especially if you're a little older, you want to get somebody with a lot of experience before you go hire somebody,
Yep,
right?
I think that's true.
So yeah, so getting a coach, I think, is vital to get you to where you want to be. Did you have to do that to get your business, better? Did you have to get coaches?
Absolutely. I had quite a few coaches or mentors that you could call it a mentor, I guess,
Yeah.
whatever. But yeah, there's quite a few people that helped me get Mountain Country to where it is today. So absolutely.
Yeah, because they had the
They had the know-how and the knowledge.
And the
Yeah,
experience
the
to get-
experience and a different perspective.
in a different perspective.
That's
Yeah.
important too.
Yeah, very, very, very important. So there it is, man. You heard it from somebody who's in business. You've heard it from a strength and conditioning coach. Things you have to do to make your routines more successful and to become a little bit, last a little bit longer in the gym, right? Longer than 6 weeks, I hope.
Right. It's a long time commitment. This
It
is a marathon, not a sprint.
It
Right?
is, yeah, that is very true. And a lot of people want to get there really quick, which can be really detrimental,
Yeah.
right?
But even in a few weeks, you can probably, if you really kind of measure yourself, you can probably see that you've actually come. Maybe you didn't get to Arnold Schwarzenegger, but you should be able to see that in a few weeks, if you're doing it right, you
Yeah.
should be able to see some measure of result.
And that was going to be another one that I was going to talk about too, was actually writing down the weights, reps you're doing, right?
And then you can see,
And
oh
then
man,
you can
I can
see
do
on paper, and I can see in the mirror my results that are coming,
Cool.
right? So there you go. 3 things to make your routine, your goals, your New Year's resolution goals better is to start with morning wins, right? Then get yourself a coach. 3, track.
Great.
This has been the Cerebral Edge with Coach Chris. This is Dave West. Stay strong.